A lot of talk right now about, well, who's in, who's going to find their way into the college football playoff. Is Bama going to be in? Is Florida State going to be in? If the rankings are out right now, we already have our answers to those questions. But the question that we never even needed an answer to is Michigan going to be in? Because the answer is emphatically yes. Big time dub yesterday, third in a row for the Big Ten title. Michigan 26, Iowa 0. So what can we take away now from where Michigan's at? Can talk about the game a little bit. We'll do that. Talk about the path ahead for Michigan. We'll do that as well. First things first, though, Wolverines fans, make sure you're subscribed right here. The way that y'all are throttling towards a national title, same way we're throttling towards 200K subs on this channel. So go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate y'all so much in advance for that. Also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Pakel. We appreciate y'all for that as well. So when it came to this game, Michigan did what we expected them to do. They were dominant. We knew going in they were the better team. Coming out of this game, feel like they're the better team based on that final score. Regardless of what those college game day picks looked like, Michigan was the better team. And there was no sign of exhale from them, which was the one thing that maybe, just maybe, could have made it interesting. Now, we did not predict there would be an exhale. In fact, the opposite. We thought Michigan would do what they did in frenzy with blood in the water, like good Sharks do, that Michigan is, with their head coach back on the sideline, with them beating Ohio State, with all the things that felt like they were on the other side of adversity. They did not let up at all. In fact, it was more so pedal to the metal. Mikey Sanders still, I think he embodies what this Michigan team is. 2 forced fumbles yesterday. Phenomenal for him to have the game that he did in the spot that he did. But when I say he embodies what Michigan football is, to me, he just does whatever's required. He just meets the mission and executes to the nth degree. Hey, Mikey, need you to switch from wide receiver, play some nickel for us. Can you do that? Okay, no problem. Hey, Michigan, head coach isn't going to be on the sideline. Got to beat Penn State on the road. Hey, we're not going to throw a pass in the second half. Sound good? Okay, no problem. Hey, we got Ohio State now. We got them at home. They've been beat by us the last 2 seasons. They're going to have an edge. We're going to need to really bring it this week. All right, going to need to get a stop on that last drive to win the football game. Even with all that Ohio State has on that wide receiver core, you got to be able to make plays in the back end. Can we do it? No problem. Just no problem. Okay, yes, check the box. It's very much so a what's next kind of operation in Ann Arbor. Mikey Sanders still, like I said, he embodies that to me by nature of his entire journey at Michigan, by nature of the game that he played yesterday, and by nature of what Michigan is. I think that 100% fits to a T with what Agent Zero did yesterday. Now, like I said, if you're Michigan, slept pretty well last night. There's no real question about Michigan and should they be in the college football playoff. The eye test, check. Resume, undefeated, Big Ten champ. 2 top 10 wins, check. Okay, yep, no discussion there. What you're going to hear a lot of, though, and this is something that I hate that we have to keep revisiting, but we got to revisit it because it's going to be a talking point at some point in time throughout the duration of all the lead up to the college football playoff. There's going to be this question. Does Michigan really deserve to be in? Well, Connor Stallions this, Connor Stallions that, sign stealing here, sign stealing there, last year everywhere, Jim Harbaugh suspension, all that. That's going to be a talking point. But I'm here to tell you, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And the reason why I say that is when we talk about the stuff with sign stealing and we talk about Michigan being punished, all the sign stealing stuff, to my understanding, happened last year. And last year has no bearing on this year. You say, well, Michigan should be punished. They shouldn't be in the playoff. How about having your head coach not on the sideline for the 3 biggest games of the season? I feel like they checked that box pretty emphatically and should, I think, have proven their point that they are one of the top 4 teams in the country. And so I think if you're saying that Michigan shouldn't be in the playoff, they've already had their punishment. So you're yelling into the void at that point with suspending their coach for the last 3 games. Also, they won their 3 hardest games, like I said, of the season without their head coach. So if you think the advantage from last year had any impact on this year, I have a very difficult time wrapping my head around that and agreeing with you. I see where you're coming from. I'm not excusing cheating. In fact, the opposite. I think they should have been punished. But to say that that's why they should be left out of the playoff, it's irresponsible. Again, yelling into the void. Folks creating volume around that for Michigan, they think they're making a point. They think they're adding to this campaign to get Michigan somehow more punishment or out of the playoff or whatever. Like, all that's to say, like, the investigations and all that, like, that's going to take place, and the powers that be will handle Michigan going forward how they see fit. But the people that are causing volume around Michigan right now, what they're doing is creating fuel for Michigan. You think you're negatively impacting that operation. In fact, the opposite. You're just feeding into the Michigan versus everybody mentality that they already wanted to have. They have very much so all they need in that department at this point in time, thanks to those people. So for Michigan now, I think the way they handled that win yesterday is a little bit telling, because they were happy. There were smiles, there was cheers, there was celebration, but it didn't feel like how I think I've seen Michigan celebrate the last couple of seasons in spots like that. Like when they beat Ohio State for the first time in however many years in the snow in Ann Arbor, like that was cause for a parade. Second year, we were there in Columbus. I mean, that was a jubilant experience for those folks. But then this year, granted, we saw it on TV, so it might have been different in person, but it didn't feel like to me it was like this overwhelming exhale sense of joy. It was like, okay, nice, great. We expected that, on to the next. That was kind of what I saw yesterday. Like, yeah, we won the Big Ten. This is kind of what we do now. This is kind of what we expect now under Jim Harbaugh. And it's not, I don't think, an arrogance or a cockiness. I think it's more so a vision for the future and saying, yes, this is what we do now. We check these boxes. But there's some boxes we haven't checked in the college football playoff department, and we understand those are the ultimate goals. Those are now what we're after. Yes, the standard is still to beat Ohio State, still to win the Big Ten. That's what you should do if you're in the Big Ten, and that's your aspirations to be a national power. Same thing for Ohio State. Their standard is beat Michigan and play for the college football playoff. But for Michigan now, it's very clear they're evaluating this season's success based on what happens now in the playoff and the national championship. And so the edge they have, the character they have internally, I believe, with the way they've responded to adversity, I'm excited to see how they play here in this semifinal game. Time of us recording this, no idea who that's going to be, but I'd be wildly surprised if Michigan is not the number one team in the country when those rankings come out. And I'm excited to see how they perform now with their third try at a semifinal game. And I promise you, they will have laser focus on that game. They've fought very hard to get back to this game, and Jim Harbaugh will have that team ready to play. If they needed any extra adrenaline or any extra edge, they have it from the external noise. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll give you our prediction for Michigan's semifinal game here very soon on a future live show. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JD Pakel. Let me know what you're thinking right now about Michigan as it pertains to their national title chances. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Gonna keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.